Everything you've always wanted to know about real estate, but didn't know who to ask. I'm your host, Angie Stanley. Today we have Kevin Sanderlin, who is a realtor with Keller Williams Realty. We have Enzo Morales with the Guaranteed Rate Lender Group. We have Jasmine Corona with Farmers Insurance. So thanks so much, Kevin, for coming on the show today.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you.
So tell me, there's so many realtors out there. What is your story? How did you become a realtor? Why did you want to, jump in this game?
Sure. I was around real estate growing up. My parents are real estate investors. So I always got to experience a little bit of what it was like to own a rental property. I remember being young and seeing the rentals and seeing new people come in and out and cleaning up yards and things like that. So I got an early experience at a pretty young age. Now in college, I actually graduated with my bachelor's degree in psychology. I have a genuine just desire to help people, and I think that's really what sticks out compared to other realtors, is my desire to genuinely help people any way that I can. So on one hand, when you hire a realtor, you're hiring a realtor to help you buy a house or help you sell a house. But with me, I actually care about the person and their whole experience. So sometimes you might find me doing things that other realtors won't. For example, maybe taking out the trash when they're out of town or something like that. So, the scope of what I do doesn't just start and stop with the regular real estate services. I'm really trying to help people any way that I can.
Wow, yeah, I don't know how many realtors take the trash out when the clients are gone, so that's awesome. Can you tell me, Kevin, how is it different being a realtor today compared to even 5 years ago?
Sure, yeah, the real estate market is always changing, especially in the last 5 years. Today, some things that are going on is the buyers are changing a lot, the sellers are changing a lot. Customers are becoming much more knowledgeable because they can access MLS data online. So it's very important as a realtor that I know just as much and more than my customers, because if they're online every day looking at all the inventory, I need to be online every day looking at all the inventory and making sure that I'm up to date just as much as they are. So, with customers being more and more knowledgeable, it's even more important to be at the top of your game as a realtor. So that includes knowing the inventory, knowing about all the schools and the neighborhoods, the latest market trends, what's going on with interest rates and lending, and there's so many different components when it comes to real estate that it's very important to be really up to date. The fact that I do a pretty high volume, that really helps out a lot, because I always have several listings going on, and that's great because I have my hand on the pulse of the real estate market, because I know how many calls are coming in, how many showings are being viewed, what are the prices doing, are buyers paying under appraisal value or over appraisal value. So all of that knowledge and information is extremely valuable when helping out a buyer or a seller.
Absolutely, so they have a lot more information at their fingertips, which then means they're coming to you and kind of checking you, making sure you're on your toes and know the same information. So very interesting. So tell me, how do you keep your clients coming back year after year? How do you get your referrals? Because I know that that's such a huge part of being a realtor.
Yes, I am very much my business is referral based, so it's very important that I take care of my customers because they do generally call me either if I help them buy a home, maybe it's time for them to sell, or maybe they want to buy a second home or an investment property. So I do often get calls from past clients and referrals from past clients. And the reason why is because, kind of like I said, I genuinely care about them and their whole scenario. So when I'm working with them, they see that I'll go the extra mile to make sure that they're satisfied with the process. So sometimes you have hurdles and speed bumps to come up in real estate. Well, even if something does happen, they can be assured that I'm going to take care of them and make sure that any problems gets resolved in a way that they're satisfied with. So people really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And how do you stay in contact with these clients, that you've closed deals with year after year?
Yeah, it's definitely, I've been selling real estate for over 12 years now, so there's quite a big list there of past clients and people I've worked with. So, easiest way is by email, and with that I offer different types of monthly newsletters where I can send them either real estate related information or information just on community events, so they can choose if they want real estate stuff or non-real estate stuff. So email is one really good way to keep in touch. Another thing I do is just make sure I call them every once in a while. Hey, how's it going? How's the house? How the family? How the kids? After they've purchased a house, 1 year later, I'll take a look at their value and let them know, hey, if your value has gone up or the value's gone down, or how has your purchase gone so far. Another thing I do is I do networking events. So what I'll do is I'll just create an Evite and say, hey, I'm going to be doing happy hour at Carl's Joust this Friday, and I'll just invite everybody I know. And sure enough, I usually get between 10 and 20 people show up, and it's fun to see who shows up, people that don't know each other, but people that I know really well. So, those are a few of the things I do to keep in touch with people and just make sure that the relationship keeps going. That way, when the house closes, I'm not just off and gone. I really want to keep in touch with them and keep the relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me real quick, Kevin, 3 tips you would give to a home buyer in today's market.
Sure. So for home buyers, recently some houses have been going really fast. So I've had some buyers where by the time we go out and look at the property, maybe it's a week later, it could already be under contract and they've lost their opportunity. So one of the most important things as a buyer in this market is to be fast and have a realtor that's fast. Not every realtor does what I do, where we'll set up the home buyer search criteria, and then the moment that a property hits the market that meets their criteria, boom, they get the email that morning. And when they learn the pace that things are going fast, I'll get a call that day, or call or email that day. Sure enough, we may be going out looking at that house today and write up an offer by that night. So we're talking 24-hour turnaround for my buyers to be able to get those offers out.
So you got to stay on your toes. And then one more quick tip for a home buyer.
Sure. So the other thing for home buyers is just really stressing the importance of working with a realtor. I've run across a lot of buyers lately who are going directly with the listing agents. You got to keep in mind when you're contacting the listing agent, that listing agent is not looking out for your interest. So sure enough, that listing agent might say, sure, we'll take an offer for $700,000. Well, yeah, he represents the seller. That's what he wants. If I'm your agent, I might recommend $650,000. So hey, save you $50,000 to hire a realtor. Yeah, you betcha. You better work with a realtor. That's representing you.
I definitely recommend that as well. Well, thanks so much, Kevin. It was very informative.
Thank you.
And then next up, we have Enzo Morales with the Guaranteed Rate Lending Group. Hello and welcome back to Smart Real Estate. Now we have Enzo Morales from the Morales Group at Guaranteed Rate. Hi Enzo, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. So tell me, Guaranteed Rate. Tell me a little bit about you guys. Who are you? How are you different from other lenders?
Guaranteed Rate is the largest privately held mortgage company in the country. We were founded in 2000 by Victor, our CEO. We've now come into San Diego. We've been here for about 5 going on 6 years. And yeah, we're just basically expanding our brand here. We are realtor based, so we focus primarily on the realtor community and do our best to help them with their business, and in turn, work on the referral side of things as well.
Okay. Now, how are you different?
My team and I, we work very, very hard to try to keep all of our borrowers and all of our customers educated throughout the entire process. That's really important to us. One of the things that we try to do is make sure that every step of the way, all questions are answered, because this is a very large investment for customers in general. And I found that as a consumer, that it was hard to get the straight answers from the lenders that I'd worked with. So as I came into the business and gained experience, one of the main things that we focus on is making sure that we deliver what we promise, and that our borrowers understand the process and are making educated decisions as they go through.
Wow, that's great. I mean, you would think that would be common sense, but it's kind of a lost art to be able to have that kind of service. So tell me, how do you stay in front of your customers? What do you do?
One of the main things that we're using right now with the advent of social media is really using the different social media platforms, Facebook, Pinterest, so on and so forth, to communicate directly with our past client database and even potential new clients. So what we try to do is we use a series of platforms. It's a consistent message throughout each platform, but the social media tool is definitely something that has come into play here in the last 6 months to 12 months for us, and it's working great.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, okay, your partner exchange program. Tell me what that is and how that all works.
Partner exchange is unique to Guaranteed Rate. It's a proprietary website software that was developed by the company specifically to support realtors in their endeavors. So in other words, what it basically does is allows the realtor to become a part of the marketing effort of Guaranteed Rate. They have personalized logins. They're able to go in and track their the referrals that they've given us as far as their clients, see what step they are in the process. They're able to create co-branded marketing materials. They can go in and create finance flyers, open house flyers, whatever it is that they actually need. And not only that, if in fact they're a partner with us, we also have some customized applications that can actually be put in for them as well. So little things like that help them out. They're able to have their customers log in, apply on their website for a loan through us. So it's a pretty good tool, and it's 100% geared towards the realtor community.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's just through a guaranteed rate?
That's a guaranteed rate program. As far as partner exchange, it was something that was developed and is owned by us. So I don't know what the other competitors have out there, but I haven't really seen anything that matches it.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, so being a community lender, I've heard you say that you guys are a community lender. What does that mean?
Quite frankly, being in North County, we try to involve ourselves with as many things as we can on a community level. We support different charities. We get involved with community events. We have, aside from my family, we have a lot of things that are going on that are so localized that it's good to just kind of become a presence. And one of the big things that Guaranteed Rate's doing right now in San Diego is trying to expand our presence on a local level. If you look at all of our marketing, it's always geared towards San Diego, at least 90% of it is. And what we want to be known as is the community lender that's here to support not only the community as far as the home buyers and the realtors, but also local businesses. In the last 5 years, with the shift in the economy, you saw a lot of businesses go away. And now you're starting to see a resurgence of entrepreneurs that are coming to the table, opening up businesses. And what we want to do is not only support those businesses, but also support the people that are going to those businesses and the people that own those businesses. So what we try to do is just lend support. Our business development team does a great job of making sure that we're hosting events and we're working specifically with community-based businesses as far as restaurants, different venues, so on and so forth. And we work directly with a lot of the different charities that are here in North County.
Wow, that sounds good. And how many offices do you guys have here in San Diego area?
Right now we have the Encinitas office, the UTC office, which is really our corporate headquarters here in the region, and we are opening up a gas lamp office.
Okay, and then is your goal to expand further, or where do you see Guaranteed Rate in yourself in the next 5 years?
In the fourth quarter of 2012, on a national level, we are the number 8 largest lender in the country. The goal, the ringing goal has been from the CEO, is that we want to be number 1. Now, how long that's going to take, I don't really know. All we're trying to do right now is expand our market share, one customer at a time. If we can get a satisfied customer to give us a positive review and refer us a new client or a new business in any way, we know that we're growing. So, we take each loan very seriously, each customer very seriously. We want to make sure that everybody's needs are addressed, and I think ultimately that's going to help us in expanding our goal of becoming the largest lender in the country. Absolutely.
So tell me, Enzo, what would be 3 tips you could give to someone who's trying to get a loan, or maybe just even in the process of trying to find a lender?
I think ultimately the 3 tips that I would give is education, shop around, and ultimately, put your trust in somebody. So the education part is pretty simple. Just go online. There are a lot of different ways of being able to gain information on the process as a whole. Secondly is making sure that you're working with the right individual. So you want to make sure that you go out and shop and compare with different lenders. And ultimately, go with the person that, in your gut, you feel you're going to be able to trust. This is the largest investment you're ever going to make. And you want to make sure that, or one of them anyway, you want to make sure that you're working with the right people. Because it's a long process, it's stressful, and you want to make sure at the end that you went through with the person that you thought was going to take care of you the best.
Absolutely. It's not something just to jump into.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Enzo, for coming on. And up next, we have Jasmine Corona joining us, and she is with Farmers Insurance.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to Smart Real Estate. We are now joined with Jasmine Corona with Farmers Insurance. Hey Jasmine, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Good, thanks for coming on the show.
Sure.
So tell me, how did you get into selling insurance?
Sure, good question. I got into selling insurance in 2007. Originally I wanted to be in the real estate industry, and that was not a good time to be going into the real estate industry, so I chose insurance. It's a great small business opportunity, and Farmers Insurance is number 3 in the nation, so I picked a good company to work for. So
That's awesome. Well, that leads me to my next question. Tell me a little bit about Farmers Insurance. How are you guys different, as a company, and then how are you different as being a rep?
Sure. Well, Farmers Insurance has been in business since 1928, so it's over 80 years old. My agency is different, as well as Farmers, as we focus on farmers-friendly reviews. So when a customer has an insurance policy, we do an annual review of their policy every year, which I think is unique in the insurance agency industry.
Okay. Now, what do you mean an annual review? To see if they're getting all the coverage that's necessary, or the pricing has changed? Or?
Exactly. So what happens is your life changes, things may be different on your home, maybe you do some remodels, maybe you had a baby, maybe you're moving, or you move from a different state, things like that. So we make sure that we talk with our customers every year to review all of the changes in their lives to make sure that they have appropriate coverage in place.
That's a great way to, another reason to touch base with your clients. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Now tell me, Jasmine, how are you different as far as being a sales rep? How are you a different salesperson?
Well, I think the review is something that sets me apart from other agents in the industry. Most people have never had an insurance review of their policies, and most people don't even know what they're purchasing. It's just a requirement on a loan, or they need it today, so they get a policy in place, but they don't really know what they're buying. So I really sit down with the customer and do a needs-based selling and make sure that the appropriate coverage is in place.
That sounds great. Now tell me, is home insurance mandatory in California?
It's a good question. Home insurance is not mandatory. It's not like auto insurance where it's mandated by the state. However, it is required when you're purchasing a home and you have a loan on that home. So if a buyer buys a home or a property cash, it's not required, but they definitely should get it in place to protect themselves and one of the biggest assets that they're going to purchase. So
they have to show proof when they purchase, and then every so many years, or how do they know that they have insurance?
As far as the lending is concerned, we put the lender, the mortgage company, on the insurance policy. So every time that policy renews, the lender gets a copy of that as well. They get notification.
And then what kind of policy is needed for home insurance for a new home buyer?
Sure. It depends on the kind of property that they're buying. So if they're going to be purchasing a single-family dwelling that they're going to be living in, they would need a homeowner's insurance policy. But if they're an investor and they're buying the property to rent out to somebody else, they would need a landlord protector policy. A condo policy, they would need an HO6 policy. And that's where I would come in and educate the customer on exactly what it is that they need, because consumer isn't an insurance expert, so it's really important to have an agent to ask those questions too.
And I'm sure there's different levels as far as what the individual wants. As far as coverage goes, more coverage or less coverage?
Exactly. It's based on how much it would cost to rebuild that structure. So dependent upon the square footage of the home, the details of the home, it determines how much it would cost and how much insurance we would put on that property.
Okay. Now can you tell me, how are insurance policies different in certain areas? In California we've got fires, we've got earthquakes. How is that different when you're looking for insurance policies?
It's a really good question, because a lot of consumers think that if they have a homeowner's insurance policy, it covers everything, and that's just not the case. So in California, we have earthquakes. So earthquake is not covered on a homeowner's insurance policy. It's actually a separate policy. So they would have to purchase that separately, as well as flood insurance. So a home could possibly have 3 policies in place.
And then fire is separate as well?
Fire is the homeowner's insurance policy.
Okay, so the fire would be included. Okay.
Exactly.
And then what kind of company, when someone's looking and shopping for insurance, what kind of company should they be looking for?
People should be looking for a financially stable company. So AM Best is a rating company out there, and you want to make sure that they are purchasing through a company that has an excellent standing with AM Best.
Okay. And then lastly, tell me real quick, what would be 3 insurance tips that you would give to someone that's maybe purchasing their first home?
Sure. Tip number 1, I would say, is use an agent. Don't call a 1-800 number. Get a referral from a friend, from your lender, from your real estate agent, and see who they're using, because that's going to help you in deciding what kind of policy to purchase. Number 2 would be bundle your insurance policies together. You have auto insurance, you may have life insurance, you may have umbrella insurance. So try to get your policies all together so that you can save on those discounts, because a lot of times it'll go down. And then third is keep track of all your personal belongings, because in the case of a claim, you want to make sure that all of your belongings as well as your home is built back to the way that it was before.
Absolutely.
So,
and what would be a tip as far as how to keep track of all of those belongings?
my agency will give our customers a home inventory computer program that they can put into their computer. They can take video room by room of what they have and also make lists as well.
Okay, so make sure you have a good inventory of what's in there.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Jasmine, for coming on. Well, that wraps up our show for today. Thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in being spotlighted on a future show, go to www.oakwoodtv.tv and let us know. We'll see you next week, and thanks for tuning in.